Ladies and gentlemen, let me now narrow down to Kenya's grand strategy in this evolving world system. From this end, I can confirm that Kenya's foreign policy outlook is replete with opportunities and risks that are being shaped by global critical geopolitics. So our grand strategy is a necessity for the survival of our state, as well as the pursuit of global opportunities for the prosperity, peace, and security of our nation. The framework of approach to this discussion is that states must look after their self-interests in an international system of competition for power and all that contributes to the attainment of national interests. Therefore, states must design and implement grand strategies for their survival. To begin with, I may summarize our foreign policy philosophy as that of being global in scope, but Pan-African in nature. We adhere to a globally relevant Pan-Africanism for mutually beneficial relations, where Kenya plays a leading role in an Africa that is willing and equipped to negotiate for its rightful space in the international arena. Kenya champions and remains committed to the interests of Africa in international relations. This is why Kenya's position is that as much as we highlight the global crisis, such as Gaza and Ukraine-Russia conflicts, we should not forget the ongoing crisis and intractable conflicts in our continent, which continue to kill our people and impoverish the continent. We must confront the uncomfortable truth that Africa's conflicts and crises are too often quickly relegated to the sidelines of international discourse as soon as supposedly priority conflicts emerge in other parts of the world. This crisis of humanitarianism is with us today. In short, you find a Kenyan, an African, whether from the south, from the east, from the north, or from the west, talking to you more about Gaza and Ukraine and telling you nothing about Sudan and South Sudan and DRC. They'll tell you more about those other conflicts and not tell you anything about our own conflicts. But now, let me just put this into perspective so that we can understand the crisis in Africa. The evolving global peace and security challenges have compounded the challenges of our time. As of 2023, over 37 million people had been forcibly displaced in Africa. That is just last year. 37 million people displaced, either within their own countries or beyond the borders of their own countries. In the period between 2019 and 2024, the UNHCR reports that conflict fatalities from selected African countries reached 208,000. Further conflicts continue to be major drivers of the food crisis in Africa. It is estimated that 121 million Africans are facing severe acute food insecurity, and 82% of this number are in the conflict-affected countries. That means Africa's conflicts, in reality, has caused more harm to humanity than all those other conflicts that we spend more time talking about. Further, the crisis on the continent have led to the damage and closure of thousands of schools, translating into an estimated 98 million children in Africa being out of school. 98 million children, the majority of them in conflict-affected areas. What will we call that generation? What will we call them? How will we treat them? We have seen that countries that, even in the neighborhood, when they had instability, they have taken well over 30 years to come out of a crisis. So what happens to Africa when 98 million children are out of school? Therefore, although acknowledging the interconnectedness of conflicts and crises globally and regionally, Kenya stands for global solidarity, equity, fairness, and collective security where crises receive equal attention. Kenya supports the view that security threats in one part of the world should be treated as a threat to the entire world, and all actors should collectively address it. So, in the shadow of the global conflicts, let us not forget the silent suffering of our own people in Africa.